The 2-7 New York Giants traveled to Germany this week to take on the 2-7 Carolina Panthers at Allianz Arena in Munich, which I apologize to the Germans in advance for. Why the NFL thought sending two of the worst teams in the league to help sell Europe on American football was a good idea is beyond me, but here we are. Both teams are already playing for next season, so this game could turn out to be a snooze fest. The Panthers started the season with second-year quarterback Bryce Young under center, but turned to the veteran backup Andy Dalton after just 2 games, where Young racked up just 245 total yards passing, with no touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Dalton started week 3 and immediately showed results, leading the Panthers to their first win of the season. But the wheels fell off immediately after, and the Panthers lost 4 games in a row before giving the ball back to Bryce Young to evaluate what they need to draft next season. The time on the bench learning from Dalton seems to have paid off, as Young has looked much better overall but is still throwing too many interceptions and, like a certain quarterback from New York, doesn't really push the ball down the field much. He's averaging just 3.4 yards in the air on his passes and 5.4 yards per pass attempt. Daniel Jones averages 3.7 yards in the air and 6.2 yards per attempt. Compare that to someone like Lamar Jackson, who many people still call a running back who plays quarterback, and you get a healthy 5.1 yards in the air and 9.3 yards per attempt, while sitting in the top 10 for pass attempts over 30 yards. So this game will likely feature a lot of dink and dunk drives with hopes that someone misses a tackle for a big play, or the defense comes up with a turnover. A lot of the Panthers' quick passing has to do with how often teams blitz Bryce Young, because they know he's a tiny turnover machine. Young is listed generously at 5'10", which is right at the same height Doug Flutie was when he played. Height can be an overrated stat with quarterbacks, but in general, being able to see over offensive and defensive linemen that average 6 feet 5 inches tends to be a bonus. It doesn't mean that tall quarterbacks are guaranteed success, however. Remember, Daniel Jones is 6'5". The Panthers play their first game after fleecing the Cowboys for a 4th-round draft pick by trading away second-year receiver Jonathan Mingo, and are proud owners of a 1-game winning streak after outlasting the Saints last week and getting Saints coach Dennis Allen fired. They feature Chuba Hubbard in the backfield, who is perennially underrated. Chuba is averaging a robust 5 yards per carry and is on track for nearly 1,300 yards rushing. That plays right into one of the Giants' weaknesses, where they allow over 140 yards rushing per game, which is bottom 5 of the league. Fortunately for the Giants, the Panthers are at the very bottom in rush yards allowed, and the Giants' best chance to win this one is by running the ball effectively and minimizing the amount of times you need Jones to throw the ball. Look for rookie Tyrone Tracy to have a good day in this one, while Daniel Jones also contributes around 50 yards rushing. The Giants, while likely out of the playoff hunt, held on to Azeez Ojulari at the trade deadline. Whether teams were offering too little or they wanted too much is the question, but the reality is they get to keep a blossoming linebacker entering the prime of his career, but who is also up for a new contract. So they'll either need to break the bank and pay him, or let him walk like they did with Saquon Barkley, rather than trading for draft capital this year. The Giants come into this one relatively healthy, with no major injuries keeping any new players out. And they may get kicker Graham Gano back, but I think they'd be better off letting him heal up a little longer and let McAtamney kick again this week. I think the Giants' pass rush will be too much for Bryce Young and the Panthers, with the Giants winning this one 24-10.